Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm doing something very different. I'm not making work, I'm basically showing you some current artworks that I've done. I'm showing you 4 paintings that I've recently completed, that what I believe are completed. They're called subtraction artworks, which uses oil paint, and you basically get an old canvas or something you don't think turned out quite as well as you would have thought, and you basically paint onto it. There's nothing in mind, you just kind of put the paint on the canvas or the MDF board, etc, etc, and an image should appear either in figurative or even a landscape. You might know it's all about the subconscious and trying to get the material to do what your subconscious wants to do. So here's the first one. Well, the first one I want to show you. This is actually the last one I painted. I do originally have the video on my channel. If you'd like to see that, I'll link it down below. This one took about half an hour to make. It's very different compared to the other 4 that I have completed because it has a lot more of the original canvas in view, and that are the shapes that you could probably see in the lime blue, and it has that quite natural canvas look because the colour of it is actually really nice, and I wanted to keep it. In terms of the shape and what it looks like, to me it doesn't look like anything. It's just a really interesting composition, I believe, and it makes a change because a lot of artworks nowadays, like in my opinion, have a lot of colour and a bit too much overloaded, and are very much about texture, form. It's got to be something, but it can be anything. It's not so straightforward, should we say, as in terms of what it could be. Anyone could look at this and go, oh, okay, I don't really get it, move along, that's fine. It's art at the end of the day. It's what you want it to be. Okay, so this next one is I'm basically going backwards from the ones I've painted. So this was the 3rd one I've done in the lines of subtraction art. I'm very proud of this one. It was definitely an eye-opener. This is not, when I look at it, it's very quite dark, but the contrast of the yellow against the kind of green and then the purple, and then kind of just the underlying textures are, wow, they're a lot more interesting to me because there's actually some texture around about here where I laid an MDF board, and when I took it off, it stuck to the previous painting underneath because I was an idiot. I didn't check if it was dry or not. So that's one thing. There's also an acrylic pour underneath this, which I didn't think would work out very well when I made it. It's also some cup ring kind of textures up here, which kind of make it very, I feel like, more interesting in the terms of just having a flat canvas. Not to say you can't have a flat canvas and it's not interesting, but this is a lot more interesting in terms of texture. Definitely towards colour. These types of colours are very hard to balance out compared to a lot of colour that I've used, because there's some browns, there's some blues, there's white, there's green, there's black, there's yellow. You can go a bit overboard with all types of colours. In this one specifically, I see not a figure, I see a landscape that I have recently visited in the last 2 weeks, which is actually in the Peak District. It's basically where they found this material called Blue John. It's kind of like a gem, and it was very interesting, very educational visit, which just turned, it was actually a day out, meant to be like a day off, but it actually turned very educational, but that's fine as well because I quite like educational visits. So there's this one. Oh, also, none of my paintings have names, they just kind of have their visuals, and that's how I go by them. Okay, so moving on to a slightly smaller canvas now. This is much more figurative and very much more colourful. It's very quite cool toned. For those of you who don't know what cool toned is, it's basically like blues, a bit of greens, but also having a bit of white and then orange to contrast. There is very limited colours in this. I was quite surprised. Obviously you'll see like some bits where are like red, orange, like a yellow, green. Those colours are actually mixed up from the colours on the actual canvas rather than from a container. So in terms of this one, this artwork, this is definitely figurative. I could see a lady, but for someone else they might see something completely different. This one actually turned out started out as being a landscape painting and then turned into a portrait. I literally just kind of tilted it left and right just to see if I could see something within the artwork, and this is the first thing that came up. I just kind of extended the red line and that sort of made a feminine shape. But yes, very, very happy with this one. I really like the white in this one as well. If you look across all my paintings that I've done previously, and even when I started painting, there's always a lot of white. I always think white is such a pure colour, and it can really make the difference between a good painting to a bad painting. So this is the last painting I'm going to be showing you, but it was actually the first painting that I created in this series of Subtraction. It's probably the most, I don't want to say interesting because they're all interesting in their own way, but it was the one that kind of goes, okay, so maybe this is what I'm meant to be doing in my terms of artist practice. But this one was kind of an eye-opener because I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just putting paint on a canvas and I was like, ugh, I had a really bad day, nothing was really working for me, and then I just kind of started this one. The textures underneath again are all old acrylic pours, so there's a lot of texture and visually it looks disgusting. So I just kind of grabbed it and went, I just want to cover this up. So I started covering it up in I think I started with black and then it went to yellow, and I was like, oh okay, I might just put some of those different colours on here. That started happening, and again this one was a landscape form before it turned portrait, and it kind of unravelled from there. It just turned into, okay, I want to add another colour, oh I add another colour, and then another one, and then it was like by the end I filled the whole canvas up. I looked at it and went, I like these marks, these are pretty cool marks, I like this painting but I don't know why, so I kind of tilted it around and I found this figure, and it kind of reminds me of being on a bus, specifically a Riva bus. Don't know why, it just does. From that point on, that's what kind of formed the next 3 paintings. Anyway guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. I really hope you find it insightful and useful in my terms of trying to figure out what my artist practice is within the realms of painting. It can be really, really hard. I find painting one of the most hardest materials to work with because it's very volatile and very like, no, I want to do this, you can't make me, compared to other materials which are a bit more persuasive, should I say. But anyway guys, give this video a like if you enjoyed it, comment down below any suggestions or any questions you have about this video. That would be great. I love receiving questions because I love answering them. It makes me feel like people are interested in my work. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed, that would be amazing as always, and I shall see you guys for my next video. Bye!